I want to switch to Joker for a second, but I think the question I have for you with all of these guys who are the bigs who can pass like this is, when you're coming up, how are you basically like making your calculation of, look to score first versus look to play make? Like, what do you feel like I mean, it's obviously going to be different in every situation depending on the opponent and the circumstance and everything like that. But do you almost feel like for the sort of new generation of bigs, you're better off sort of like learning to almost being like a pass first big and then getting your buckets down the line?
No, I mean, first of all, we're all very different players. For me, I wasn't scoring, at the same tape. So um, I think it's about making fast reads, being instinctive, and when you're a passing big, it just makes everybody around you better. So being able to make quick reads off the dribble handoff, knowing where you're going to get your easy buckets from. For me, it was different because I was rolling off the handoff. Those guys are popping more. So I just, it's such a fun thing. Like people don't being able to have the ball in your hands and being able to make decisions. It's great. You just have to make them quick and make sure that your defender is off of you, because it's all about being able to play off your teammates and knowing their tendencies. How do they like to shoot the ball? These are all things that are really important, because it always starts with the handoff. Is he going to go under the handoff? Is he going over the top? If he goes over the top, it's going to open up my game. So just understanding the nuances of having the ball in your hands and being able to make plays.
I think it's interesting. You're talking about the handout, but also just the speed of the read and just instinctually being able to, if the speed is not there, it almost doesn't matter because you just, it's a split second decision. And that, a lot of that is just instinctual, don't you think?
It's instinctual, but it's also, faking a pass on one side of the court, dribbling to the other, shifting the defense a little bit. So, the reads are from the top of the key usually when or from the elbow. So to me, it's just those little ball fakes. You don't see those kind of things in a stat sheet, but it could be the difference between scoring that position and not that possession and not.
Have you, speaking of crazy shit to see in a court, have you ever seen anything like the Joker, even though he didn't make it, that for the full court tip, the 70-foot tip shot that almost went in the other night?
Honestly, that's all I needed to see. I mean, there's 0.3 seconds left, throw it to Joker. Like, what is it, 70 feet? And he tried to tip it in from 70 feet. It almost went in. That's what we expect from Joker. I mean, Joker's my favorite player. I just love watching him play. And there's a narrative about Joker that he doesn't care. That's just, it's not true. Just watching the games from the other side of the country, you can see how involved he is during timeouts. He's animated. He's talking to his teammates. He just wants to win. I think that the thing with Joker that when you talk about him as a player, I think he's just somebody who people think he doesn't care. I think he just doesn't want to be famous. He's not the type of person who's going to work out and have a YouTube channel every time he, pumps iron. But you're not going to tell me that Joker doesn't care about basketball. You're not playing at that level. If you're not playing at that level, if you don't care.
Have you seen, this has been said a lot about him at this point, but his ability, and this tip shot is a good example, his ability to just make the game look easy is what's crazy. I mean, I could just read some of the numbers. Like right now he's averaging 30, 14, and 11. He's scored or assisted on 50% of their points, shooting 56% from three, 67% true shooting. But he also just makes it look like the level of almost like I just rolled up to the arena and I'm doing this. And obviously to your point where you're saying that's not the case, but his ability to make it look easy does feel like second to none.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say this. When Steph Curry's doing his warm-up before the game, how it's become something where fans come and watch. Joker has a workout like that. If you see him and what he's working on before the game, it's so interesting. Everything is about touch around the rim. His flow and his touch is just, it's so unmatched, and he works on it. That's the kind of things that he works on before the game even starts.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you this a lot over the course of this year because we're going to be talking about him a lot, and I'm curious. I'm wondering if your answer is going to change. But like, what do you can't stop a guy like this? You know what I mean? You're not going to just like lock him down completely or shut him down. But what is your approach defensively against someone like this, knowing going in, what exactly you're dealing with?
Man, Tommy, that's a tough question. But obviously he's the most dominant offensive force that we have right now as a big. He's so fun to watch. He can kill you from the three. He's so dominant in the paint. He doesn't miss in the paint. He makes plays. He makes great reads. It's just, we've never seen that kind of dominance offensively and even defensively for somebody who doesn't look, who's not athletic. For him to be able to guard the way that he does. I see him, during timeouts, telling his teammates where to be. He's always pointing where they need to go. All shots on the Denver Nuggets, when you're looking at their offense, it obviously goes through him, but everything is in rhythm. It's just, it's such a fun style of basketball to watch, and it starts with Joker. What would I do to guard him? I would just try to deny him as much as possible. I would, just be as physical as possible. I think that the last person that I saw that played him really well was Dwight. Dwight Howard in that playoff series in the bubble was unbelievable. Just very physical with him down the court, and you could tell he was very, very frustrating and very irritating for Joker.
One thing I noticed, which I'm wondering whether this is sort of connected, that he was doing the other night, that he does a lot, that he's definitely underrated, at in general. He's in a lot better shape than I think people give him credit for. And he beats the other bigs down the court constantly, which creates these mismatches because, you're not able to deny him because he's beat you down there. And so does that feel like it's sort of part of the game, is like understanding that like he's not just lumbering down and setting up. Like you better be sort of ready to run with him on either side.
What's underrated about Joker? He plays for the Denver Nuggets. The altitude there is so real. If you can think that you're in great shape, you go to Denver, it's a whole other thing. So he's training in that every day. So by the time he gets to sea level, he has a third lung.
Yeah. Other guys have talked to me about this in the past, where some guys just hate playing there because of it. Did it ever get you?
Every time. I hated playing in Denver. Thank God I had to only go there once a year. Playing in Denver was, I could barely sleep. That's how annoying the altitude was for me.
This is a weird hypothetical. With how you play though. Imagine you get drafted by Denver. Like you're a Denver Nugget from like the jump. Like how effective your game could have, like if you get to play into that, you know what I mean? If you get to train in that all the time and you set yourself up for it, like it is a thing that is I feel like especially at the big position, there is a real impact to it.
The altitude is real. And Joker knows it. And that's why it's the fourth quarter. He runs the floor hard because he knows that's the game within the game. That's winning basketball. Like running the floor doesn't show up on a stat sheet. But when you're big, when I saw that big man exhausted and I knew I had another gear, that's the difference. You got to win that fourth quarter. And I think Joker does a good job with that.